Hello, 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 beautiful people. Welcome back to Good Morning with me, Misty B. Now, to all of my creatives who are watching the show, you're definitely going to like today's episode. I have someone in the studio. His name is LaMonté French, but he goes by just a Creole kid from Houston. And guys, he is an amazing, amazing artist, okay? So if you are creative and you love artwork and you want to know more about artwork, you want to stay tuned to this show. And even if you don't know a lot about art, guess what? You're going to learn today. He is a self-taught abstract expressionist. Do you know what that means? Like, take a moment and think about things you may have taught yourself. How was that? I don't know. But take a moment and think about someone who literally taught themselves how to create amazing pieces of work that people actually purchase. Stay tuned, because guess what? We're going to talk to him more in just a second. We'll be right back after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back to Good Morning with me, Misty B. Now, as promised, I have someone very intriguing in the studio today. His name is Mr. LaMonté French, and guess what? He is a self-taught abstract expressionist. Thank you, Mr. LaMonté, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So I'm going to dive in. Are you ready?
I don't really have a choice.
You don't, not with me. But I really want to ask you, so what is an abstract expressionist? Can you explain that to the audience?
It's where, so abstract is pretty much anything that you can put on a canvas, from material to acrylic, certain types of paint. And then expressionist or expressionism, it just comes from being able to talk about layers of content.
Okay.
So there's always an underlying meaning to what meets the eye.
I like that.
So then when you put them together, you have abstract expressionist or expressionism. Jean-Michel Basquiat created a genre called neo-expressionism. And it was where there were these childlike images, but there was always a deeper meaning underneath. So it kind of derives from that.
I like that. So what got you into art?
As a kid, just spending a lot of time, with myself and having a broad imagination.
Okay.
My father was a professional athlete, so he was actually my first muse.
Okay.
I used to draw him in his uniform, and I would draw the same picture of him over and over and over again, but I would depict him from each week, and he would change something up, and then I would always notice those changes, and I would just draw a picture of him. And then just being creative and being able to see things broader than what was just right in front of me. And as I got older, just some of the things that I was allotted and allowed to do, and some of the circles I was allowed to be in, and seeing the world just on a broader level, it just broadened my creativity.
I love that. So what age would you say you knew that you had this gift?
And just not necessarily being an artist, I like to say that I was a creative.
Okay.
I knew that I was a little bit different, or I thought a little bit different when I was probably about 6 or 7.
Oh wow, you knew early. Okay.
Yeah, when I was in the 2nd grade, I remember we were doing an art project with shapes, and we were supposed to put glue the shapes on a piece of construction paper and then just kind of create something specifically just from the shapes. Well, I actually made the shapes into characters.
Okay.
And they were, squares, circles, octagons, triangles, whatever. And I put them in a forest. So.
At how old?
I was probably about 8.
Okay.
About 8 years old.
Okay. How was that at 8 years old, knowing that you were different? How was that?
At the time, you don't really think anything of it. I just, I watched a lot of cartoons, and I loved movies, and, being in certain circles, my mother was really big into fashion.
Okay.
And just the opulence of how she decorated our home and how she dressed myself, my sister, my brother. Those types of things I was exposed to at a really early age. So it just kind of broadened my mind. So it was normal for me in the beginning. Okay. And then as I became older, I kind of noticed like, okay, well, I think a little bit differently.
Okay. So. Now I'm going to tell you, we did our homework on you.
I know.
And I have a quote from you that I'm going to read.
Okay.
I love this quote.
Okay.
But I want to ask you about it.
Okay.
It says, I wanted to have a show, and we're talking about your upcoming show, Fuego. I wanted to have a show that was a celebration of making beautiful work out of a dark space. And then you say, this collection was emotional for me. It gives reference to addiction, depression, religion, and political undertones. That's pretty deep. Can we dive in there?
Because the not necessarily just specifically the political climate of what we're in, but the climate of which we all were forced to be in. It was a time where we were forced to deal with ourselves,
right?
Whatever those things may be. Along the lines, we always can kind of cover up whatever our vices are, or whatever the inner demons are, because we can make ourselves busy, or we can kind of focus on something else. But in this space, we were forced to be still. So you had to look at yourself in the mirror, whether that be from a financial standpoint, whether it be from a political reference, or just the content of the socioeconomic system of which we were in and we were placed in. I also lost a good friend of mine during the time of the pandemic, but he was going through things within that nature. And then myself, I dealt with a small bout of depression as well during that time, just from spending a lot of time alone and just focusing on, the things that are true within yourself are most of the time pretty ugly.
They are. And you said something about looking in the mirror. Looking in the mirror is tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, when the world was open, we had a chance to look in everybody else, right?
Yep.
But when you have to look at yourself, it can be challenging. Yeah. Now, I want to talk to you about a piece of your artwork that I found. So I'm scrolling through your Instagram, and I see this photo, and it literally, I'm completely engaged.
Okay.
And I can't lie. I'm creative to a degree, but I don't have an artist's mind. But I wanted to break it down for myself, right?
Okay.
So I'm looking at this piece of art on Instagram, and can you tell me about this piece of art?
So that piece is called Voodoo Slave Love Potion number 9. And it's basically about a woman. So I read a book called Voodoo Slave, and it's about a woman's brother who was a voodoo king, and she was in love with a man, and she went to her brother and wanted him to put a spell on this man in order to make him fall in love. But when he fell in love with her, it was more than what she bargained for, because she also had to deal with the undertones of what she didn't know about him. So it's almost like we wish for these certain things, but it's what we see on the surface.
I like that.
And the actual picture is, at the time, was a good friend of mine, but now she's my manager, Mariah Elise. She's the head of Elise Art Group, which is my management company. And that was a picture that she had of herself on the wall, and she was lighting a cigarette. And I remember one day I was like, can I have this picture? And it was a lot bigger than that. So then I just cut her out, just herself. And it was kind of because of some of the things that she had discussed with me and shared some personal things with me. So I put her in the piece. And then the reference to the American flag, which I use in a lot of my work, is to give the depiction and on the forefront of this is what we see as America, but there's a lot of undertones that we really don't like to face, or we're not ready to
we don't want to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know how that conversation goes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to come right back with Mr. LaMonté French, because we just kind of touched the surface right now, but we're going to go a little bit deeper. So we'll see you guys in just a second.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac with the new 2021 XT6 luxury collection with standard third row seating for just $459 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down. Or purchase and receive 1.9% APR for 60 months plus $2,500 bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway. Test drive the new 2021 Escalade today at Ron Carter Cadillac.
Smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm a part of the prenatal care club now, taking all my STD tests.
Did you know your doctor's required by law to test you 3 times for syphilis and HIV?
Yes, my husband and I are making sure I get all 3 tests.
Good. Testing is the key to preventing congenital syphilis.
And good prenatal care is your first labor of love.
Glad to hear your husband is so involved.
Thank you. Yes, taking all my STD tests for syphilis is important to both of us. My prenatal promise is to prevent a stillbirth or miscarriage. To find out more, visit myprenatapromise.com.
Welcome back. I am still here with Mr. LaMonté French, and we're about to go deeper into this painting. Okay, so tell me more about Voodoo. No, am I saying it wrong? Voodoo Slave Love Potion
number 9.
Tell me more about this painting.
So the Love Potion number 9, it's just a reference as the woman in the book. She wanted her brother to make a potion. So if you see the female, she has a thought, and it says number 9. So it's kind of like it's in the same font as Chanel number 5. It just says number 9. So it's like the scent that you give off as the potion, and she's enticing. So because she's enticing, she's making herself vulnerable. So she exposes herself. So that's why you see her arms are like skeleton arms. And then there's a reference, a Spanish reference. It says un amor, which is my love. And then bacon is like.
Yes, talk to me about the bacon part. I saw that.
Because it's like in New Orleans, they say, well, I'm gonna bake a cake for this person when they either set someone up or when they're luring them down a back alley. But then also too, bacon as in swine, when you engulf it, it is almost like poison.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm going to go back as soon as I leave here, get back on that phone and scroll back through Instagram. Okay. Now let's talk about, you have an event coming up.
I do.
All right. Let's talk about Fuego. What inspired you? So I know you created this event, this exhibition actually during the pandemic, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about the inspiration and give me more details.
Just, the work it's 10 large pieces, and it ranges, the content from the social climate to mental health. Okay. To I'm doing 2 installations, but with all of my work, I like to go backwards in history, and then I create a bridge to bring it to present day and what's going on now. Okay. So the work is just, like I said, it's just 10 large scale pieces at a fraction of my normal price because I haven't had a show in a year and a half, and I want to touch my fans and the collectors, and just show them what I've been doing. Okay. So I decided to have this one night pop up. There's a private viewing the following day on Saturday, but that's invitation only to my collectors. Okay. But it's just, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good night. People can come out, look at some art, hopefully buy some art. Like I said, the work's at a fraction of the price because I want people to be able to get a piece and live with it and understand that this is actually, proper contemporary art. But also too, I just signed with a new gallery that's opening in October.
Congratulations.
Elio Fine Art. So I want to say big thanks to Trish Matude and Harwood Taylor. Give a big thank you to Catherine Anspon over at Paper City Magazine, because she kind of brought them my way. But the price point it will not be what it is anymore.
So they better catch this while they can.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this: when people come this weekend and they see your art, what do you want them to feel when they're looking at your collection?
I want them to be able to think about someone who's gone through what the painting is saying. You know, I always say, if I can get a person to stop and actually try to break down a painting for 10 minutes, the painting's done its job.
I like that.
So, and you know, with my work, I dig into it. I sew into it. I collage a lot.
You set intentions when you're doing your work. I like that.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, it's just bearing, you know, a piece of your soul and giving it to the actual piece.
So let me ask you this, because I told you I spent time breaking down the piece on Instagram. So even if someone breaks it down, someone like myself who knows little to nothing about art, is it okay to walk away with your own? Always.
But you know, all of my pieces, they have dissertations, so the dissertative will actually drive you back to the actual painting. So once you read the content of it, you're gonna go right back to it, and it's almost like the painting becomes bigger.
I love that. So would you say advise newbies, if I can call myself that, look at the painting before reading anything, look at the artwork, try to come up with what you think it means for you, and then you go back and read it.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
So there's no really right or wrong when it comes to this.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's how art is when you're creating it. It's really no right or wrong.
Okay. So when you created Fuego, was this all during the pandemic?
A couple of pieces were actually during 2020. The gallery, Winston Contemporary, they ended up closing after a friend of mine, one of the owners, he passed away. So I got a new studio space in Midtown. And once I was in that new space, it just kind of gave me new energy. And then I created just this array and wide range of large scale pieces. And then what was beautiful about it is one of the pieces that I had made about 6 years ago when I first became an artist, I had never shown. And it was in great condition, so I added that. It was a piece from 2015. I added that to the collection as well, and it just kind of fit. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about this yet, but of course, again, we did our research, and you're just a Creole kid from Houston. Tell me, where did that come from? I love that though.
You know, my last name is, you know, it's for me to pay homage to my grandmother. You know, she passed away when I was just an infant, but I always hear these stories. You know, I was really the last grandbaby that she got to see. And I always hear these stories about how much she loved me and how I really was her baby. So that's my way of paying homage to her, because she, you know, she never got to see me graduate college or see me have children or, you know, just accomplish some of the things that I've accomplished in my life. So I pay homage to her with my last name French, and she was Creole. My grandfather was German and my grandmother was Creole. So, you know, the premise behind it is just that I'm no different from anyone else, but I tell people all the time, you know, my parents just allowed me to dream in color.
I love that. See, my thing is dream out loud, and yours is dream in color. So with that being said, any advice for any artists out there who may not have the exposure that you had, or maybe they don't have the freedom to dream in color, what advice would you give them?
When you're creating work, take your time and be patient with it. And then the next piece of work that you create, go further than you did within that piece.
I like that. Okay. And now let me ask you this. So the event, we have it Friday at Sandman Studios.
7 to 10.
7 to 10. Pop up. Everybody can, open to the public,
yes,
correct?
Yes, it is. Yes. Masks are optional, but they'll be provided.
Okay.
There's also a book that you can pre-order. So there'll be a book that you can look at, but you can pre-order that book for the collection Fuego. And then, you know, people will be able to, you know, I'll be there, so they'll be able to talk and ask questions and mingle, you know, have a cocktail, have some hors d'oeuvres, and just have a good time.
Awesome. That we need this during this climate.
Definitely.
I want to thank you so much for coming in the studio.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, and sharing your work with us, right? Because this is something I want us to get more into.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for tuning in with Mr. LaMonté French, as we know him as the Creole kid from Houston, okay? We'll be right back after this break.
at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Did you guys enjoy that interview with Mr. French? That was pretty dope. I learned something that I didn't know, and I cannot wait to attend his pop-up. So you guys make sure that you go there Friday, June 11th from 7 to 10 p.m. at Sandman Studios. He is going to be there answering questions. And guess what? You can look at his artwork and guess, before you even read anything, just say what it means to you and what it feels like for you. Now, you guys know I love to talk about dreaming out loud, right? But did you hear what Mr. French said? He said his parents allowed him to dream in color. Think about that and process that for just a second. To be able to dream in color. My best friend has shared with me on a few occasions about, what could he have been if his parents allowed him to just be who he is and to dream in color. So I'm going to reach out to the parents today. If you are a parent, and let's say your child is different, it's okay. It is completely okay to be different. And you don't want to stifle your child by trying to put them into a box. Let them express themselves. Let them color all outside of the lines. Let them be who they are, because guess what? You may have the next artist, or you may have the next pianist. You have no idea who you've birthed and what they could be creating within themselves. So please let your children be who they are. And if you are an adult and your parents did not allow you to dream in color, it's not too late. It's completely okay to be who you feel like you should be on the inside. I read somewhere recently, I think it was an article that I read that said, everyone in society is so busy trying to fit into the box instead of just being themselves and standing out. It's your turn. If you've not been your authentic self, then guess what? You're not standing out. Be you. You are supposed to be exactly who you're supposed to be. You were created to be exactly what you were supposed to be. So guess what? I want you guys walking in your authentic self, whoever that is, no matter what anyone says, because guess what? The right people will find you and you will attract that energy right back to yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, Misti B. We are going to be right back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And guess what? If you have an inspiring story, even if you don't think your story is inspiring, email us. We really, really want to hear about it. Like, I'm nosy, okay? So I want to know your story. You can email us at info@americanstartv.com and make sure you're following us too on Instagram and Facebook at American Star TV. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye-bye.